How's it going, everyone? This is Frank Cavone,
And I'm Doug Quimby.
and we are here with the first episode of KLKL from The Office. For those who don't know what the Kind of Live, Kind of Living podcast is, it's a a bi-weekly podcast that we do that we talk about a whole bunch of fun stuff like skateboarding, music news, stuff that's going on in our life, video production, and Doug, what else do we talk about?
You basically covered it all: music production, music in general, what we were digging to, what we've been watching, listening to, just getting into skateboarding life, and what we go out and do on the daily.
Absolutely, man. I definitely like, we vibe really well. We've been friends for a long time, and stuff like this is just kind of natural for us. Uh, we were supposed to have on Michael Halsey of Spot 518 and Spot Newspapers, but because of this horrible storm that we're having here in Albany, New York, it's just not possible for him to get here. And honestly, not a good idea to really head outside right now. And the weather's bad, and it is what it is. But this is the first episode of the podcast, and the reason why we're doing this is because we want to make sure that we are bringing you guys content every single week live. And Doug, you're able to call in anytime, and as things get, we work out the kinks like we did for the regular podcast. You're going to see maybe different things happening, or just maybe even talking about different things. We're definitely going to have guests on, and maybe they're more focused on the guest and not just what the Kind of Live, Kind of Living podcast is. But Doug, yeah, so you've been skateboarding a lot, and it really shows. What tricks have you been working on? I know we kind of covered it in the last episode of the Kind of Live, Kind of Living podcast, but yeah, let me know, man. What have you been working on?
Dude, yeah, I've been really trying to get hard flips down more consistently. I mean, that's a trick I've always really liked to do, but haven't been super consistent with it. But I really think I figured out the proper foot placement with all of that. So, when skating with you the other day, went over to the memorial and did the hard flip down the three stair there, and watching that back, that was as perfect as I could have done it. So I'm really happy to be getting those on the regular. I really want to try to get switch frontside big spins. It's a hard one. I can't get my weight distribution right, but I feel like that trick just flows super nice.
Definitely. I can't believe how proper your hard flips are still to this day. I mean, that spot we were skateboarding, I don't know the exact name of the spot, but it's right in Washington Park. You had that hard flip over that set of stairs in a matter of a few tries, and just even, some of the tricks that you didn't get, it was like I felt like I was filming like Doug 3.0, because you're always naturally good. And then, after you got back from Vegas, it was like a whole nother thing where you were, honestly, I was blown away. I couldn't believe how good you got. And now after, you know, with skateboarding and you get older, it just, you don't get to be able to skate every day. Your body is more sore. You're working, the problems that come
Oh
along
yeah.
with becoming an adult. And but it seems like you're making the time to, utilizing the skate plaza, and it's awesome. And you get there's just a great group of kids skating there now.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I mean, I also feel like that's the thing with getting older is I don't necessarily want to just huck and bail tricks anymore. It's more just okay, I'm gonna try tricks that I'm very confident I'm gonna get, and not just really lollygagging around. But yeah, no, there's definitely been a huge new community of skaters in Georgia, and I'm really happy to see that. That's definitely, I'm seeing them kind of stopping in the price shopper and skate around the back streets now, and definitely reminds me of us way back in the day, hitting up the back streets skating around. So it's really cool to see that that tradition is continuing.
Definitely, it is cool because I mean, the skate park's great, but as a skateboarder, your mind wanders and you want to stack clips, and not everybody wants to get filmed just in a skate park. It just, it's traditional street skateboarding. That's the reason why you're at the park, and I mean, some for transition skating too, but our park is definitely more adapted for the street skater.
Oh yeah.
Um, and But yeah, with just everything we don't have a lot of news to talk about, but I'm definitely excited to talk more about skateboarding. First, I want to just say rest in peace, Eddie Van Halen, one of the greatest guitarists to ever live on this planet. He he he's like the Michael Jordan of guitar playing. Everybody wants to play like Eddie Van Halen. One of the reasons you pick up a guitar, even for me, is definitely the song Eruption, just the first album of Van Halen, Running with the Devil. There's so many great songs on that album. Even Van Halen 2. I would just listen to Van Halen 2 before hopping on the podcast with you. And, just there's so many great tunes. I recommend check. I know you haven't really listened to a lot of Van Halen, but check out those two albums, Diver Down, Women and Children First. They even do an amazing cover of David Bowie's "Where Have All the Good Times Gone." It's one of my. It's how Diver Down starts off, and it's such a good album. I just with they're kind of like Zeppeliners, in a sense where David Lee Roth, he's got the pipes, he's got the energy, and he honestly is more interactive than Robert Plant. It's harder rock, but it is he was an influence to so many people. What a horrible loss. The guitar that you see right here, the Fender Stratocaster, my dad was a huge fan. His two favorite guitarists were Eddie Van Halen and Stevie Ray Vaughan. And Eddie Van Halen played not just any Stratocaster, but he basically made his own guitar and played that guitar for pretty much the whole time, outside of starting his own company, EVH, which just happened, which was maybe 10 years ago, but it was called the Frankenstrat. So he wanted a guitar that sounded not only like a Fender Stratocaster, but also the beefy tone from a Gibson Les Paul. So he basically took all these pieces of the guitar, molded it, built it, took the time to build it, and to make it sound the way he wanted it to sound. And I got to see him once at Mohegan Sun, 2007. It was the only time at a concert I've seen my dad really get into it. I was like, yeah. And it was just really cool to see him like that. And just, I grew up listening to rock and roll personally. It was one of the best concerts I've ever been to, just because they're one of those bands that, they're a bucket list band. It's like seeing Black Sabbath or Metallica. It's the same thing. It was just a great time. Legendary. I was in 8th grade when that happened. My dad pulled me out of school, went to Mohegan Sun, and it was a great experience, and obviously doing something with my dad. But if you haven't really listened to Eddie Van Halen, go check out Van Halen's albums on Spotify and iTunes and YouTube and all that good stuff. Next, I want to talk about just the Eddies Awards. The Eddies Awards are just the Capital Region Thomas Edison Music Awards that happen each and every single year at Proctor's Theater. They had to reschedule it because of COVID. It was supposed to happen back in April 25th, I believe, and then it just didn't come together. And but they just announced that they will be doing the awards virtually. And I just want to thank them again just for the nomination. The Eddies is a great organization that supports local music and arts. They're involved with Proctor's Theater, and one of Proctor's Theater's initiatives, which is Universal Preservation Hall, which we got to talk to Jim Murphy and go to the pinball exhibit that was in Saratoga Springs. And if you didn't get to see that, just go check it out on our YouTube channel. But it was just this awesome exhibit that featured pinball machines of all different rock bands that were actually given to the hall to use for a certain amount of time by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And it's also going to be a venue that is hopefully opening once all this COVID nonsense ends and we're able to go see live music. But they're honestly, just on that topic right there, there's so many venues that were supposed to open that just aren't able to until probably 2021. One of them being Universal Preservation Hall. Another one, Upstate Concert Hall, which we didn't even talk about, but Upstate Concert Hall is now going to be almost right across the street from the Palace Theater, which is going to be
Oh, snap.
so much better because honestly, every time I've gone there, the sound at the sound there just sucks. It was I know you saw a couple concerts there, but to me it's just like, the sound, you have that big pole that's just sitting right in the middle of your view. You're cramped. It's not really, honestly, it's not made for music.
It
So
seemed more of a bar than a venue.
definitely more of a bar than a venue. I agree with you. And what bands did you see there? I know
Cage the Elephant. I think only Cage the Elephant. No, I saw something else
did you see
there. Maybe
Badfish or
Sublime with Rose. Sublime with Rose. No, not Sublime
oh,
Rose. The like Badfish. The
yeah, that's
Sublime
right.
cover band.
So I gotta ask, just what was it like being able to see Badfish in Lake George when they played ADK Fest
Oh,
2018?
dude, it was awesome. Like, I'm a big fan of Sublime music, and I know like there a couple of our friends like didn't really like Badfish too much, but to me, it's like it's great being able to hear some live Sublime music, and like they do have really good energy, and it always sounds really well. And like just anytime to be able to hear that like in your hometown, like Lake George, like right down by the lake, like that was a lovely day. Like
It
it
was a
just
nice day.
it's beautiful, beautiful. Like I hope that it was playing out on the lake and like everybody else was able to hear it in the town.
Yeah, seriously. I know your mom. You said your mom can hear all the concerts that
Sometime.
happen. That's pretty
Yup.
cool. That's pretty cool. But yeah, so yeah, they back to just shit.
Upstate Concert Hall.
Upstate Concert Hall. Yes. They will be moving right on South Pearl Street, and I think the cap of people that can attend concerts is like 900 to 1,000. So when it
Oh,
opens up, it's going to be a lot bigger, probably able to attract a lot bigger artists. And one thing that I got to say I do like about Upstate Concert Hall is that venue specifically has certain genres that it attracts. Hip hop, electronic music, heavy metal, pop punk, stuff that you don't really see in other venues because either it's a small bar or it's a huge, thousands, 1,500 seater like the Palace that are just, it's not possible to get those in betweener bands that don't really sell the tickets that certain bands do, or bands that are just on the verge of blowing up like Cage the Elephant. I mean, you saw them what year was it?
it had to have been like 2013, 2014.
Okay, so yeah, so 2014, and then now you look at them. They played SPAC last year, like
Oh yeah.
insane. They're
No, it's definitely convenient to have that type of size venue around because there is definitely very many unique acts that you can only really get there,
agreed. I mean, Mac
and
Miller played
affordable as
there
well.
for sure, for sure. And the last venue being that was supposed to be opening up, which we did videos with earlier this summer, was Lark Hall. Lark Hall is another venue that is actually right on Lark Street, pretty close to where I'm at right now, and just it's he actually the owner Justin Miller, great guy. He invited us to do a podcast from there eventually, and I'm definitely excited because that room is big. It's we've done social distancing events there already, and I mean, it would be cool. I like that. That was definitely like one of my favorite things that we talked about last week was Duffy's and Mean Max. It kind of brought me back because of how many episodes there were. It was just amazing that we weren't able to fit that many guests on at once. It was like it was like a little party. It was great. It wasn't just
It
two of
was.
us, and just the two of us. But yeah. uh, but other than that, I mean, the Getaway. The Getaway is an event that's being put on by the Special and Eggy. It's an outdoor socially distanced event, day of live music, camp activities in the Berkshires. It's a social distancing event that is taking place in Kent, Connecticut, October 17th, 2020. Get your tickets now. The event itself, it's gonna be like something actually like how Bill Burr was. People are in their own pods, and the pods are separated by like 10 to 20 feet, so people can be in their circle and have to remain in their circle masked to actually enjoy the event. And I was talking to the manager of Eggy, Dan Robb, great guy. He was saying that what their hope is to make it something like the next Catskill Chill, where it's this mini, you know, more laid back music festival that's not so just, these jam band music festivals get rage and,
Yeah.
it's something. But I'm definitely excited to be heading out there, just because it's been a while since I shot a concert, and that part of my life has kind of disappeared the past few months, and it's what it keeps me motivated to do stuff like that. Even just going through the process of editing the photos in Lightroom, being up all night. Yeah, it sucks during the time. But now looking back at all the stuff that we were able to put out on Mirth Films, when the world was kicking, there's a lot of great stuff on there. Photos I haven't even gotten to look at from other contributors that are just like, because it's just, the fast pace of how news is. It's just,
Oh yeah.
the fact that we're able to keep up. I definitely, I'm burnt out from that aspect. But the fact that there's nothing going on means that we are always adapting, and we have a streak of 2 podcasts now. Super pumped about that. It just feels good to be back. Last week literally felt like everything before episode 40. It was great.
Oh yeah. No, that was definitely nice.
Shout out to the 6th man, because he definitely helped us out a lot. He's our
The
new
TD?
the TD, yeah. And he's just he's a great asset to have on the team. He's very knowledgeable, and we're just happy to have him. And we got to do videos last week. That was the first time we played videos. So hopefully, I know it was, maybe some spots were a little clinky, but it just now, adapting to what we learned last time, it's just going to get better. And but other than that, I mean, Doug, are you going to be trying to get out, go skate? How's it? What's the update on the foliage?
Foliage is spot on. Like when actually apple picking the other day, and like just definitely looked around all of it, like everything is definitely a full bloom. Leaves are starting to fall, so if you want to get it, now is the time. But yeah, and actually went skating the other day. Somebody brought a couple extra skate pieces to the skate park. They brought like a little wooden ramp and a wooden manual box. So we're like, me and a couple of kids were doing some tricks like over the manual box, like from the bank. So that was like a lot of fun. I'm trying to get my kickflip down over that. Very hard, but I'm gonna do it next time I'm there, if it's still there. Hopefully it is. I always appreciate those little gifts there. But yeah, no, it's definitely been getting a little bit chillier, but it's real nice. Definitely happy. It's been a good fall so far, and definitely happy to be going out and skating and enjoying it.
Hell yeah, man!
What about you,
great.
man?
Yeah, I mean, this week coming up, I guess I don't want to get too into next week, but definitely going to be taking some time to just relax. Definitely was going. I usually back up my hard drives every month, and it's been a while. And it was about a month and a half since I've done it, and I was like looking back at all the stuff, and usually the way I back it up is I back it up from my MacBook and just bring everything over to my hard drives. Pretty much like 85% of my front screen was full with new items that need to be dropped. And I hate the process of backing up, and I only do it manually because I really don't trust the automated services that come with these devices, because I don't know. I would rather the screw up coming on my side, because these are my files that are going to live in my portfolio, and if I lose them, it is something that would destroy me. You can't get stuff back. So I back up on like 3 different hard drives. But because of this whole hard drive topic, just the busyness, between moving in, I had to go to help my cousin move all this stuff down to Washington, D.C., and that was also just another, 2 days out of my day. And like when I'm in when I have like a 9 things, like, let me put it this way. Monday, I edited 4 videos and like did a bunch of other things. That's a lot. That's a lot. And that's not even the shooting that I had to do before it. So I'm like, just yeah. Yesterday was the first real day that I felt like I was relaxed at home, and it just I'm happy to finally take the time to just do that. I printed off a bunch of new photos. Actually spent a little too much money, but I printed a bunch of photos, 8x10s. You can't see them on the wall, but there's a couple here. But I'm just trying to build out my portfolio, and I don't know, not just tack posters to the wall like the old days. I'm an adult, and even though I still act like a kid, I got to keep this a little bit presentable, especially if we possibly do the podcast in here. And, but yeah, next week, with that time being taken off, other than the podcast on Wednesday, which please tune in, going to be going to Catterskill Falls with Mickey. Going to go check out the waterfall down in the Catskills and just the foliage. She saw this picture on Reddit and it looked amazing. So it's like with the peak foliage, it's just prime opportunity. And then Tuesday, hoping to go to Whiteface Mountain and drive up to the top. It's just actually, you guys should even do it sometime. It is awesome up there just because you don't have to, it's like a 7-mile hike up, but you can drive up just like Prospect, but it's different. It's nice.
That mountain's real tall.
Super tall. And as you know from working many video productions on that mountain, we're going to do that. And then honestly just drive around the Adirondacks and just collect fall foliage. Because I haven't shot any fall foliage pics this whole time. Just my life's down here now. And I just, with being busy, going out and shooting's been hard. It's because I don't want to look at the camera after shooting, 4 days in a row for like 6 hours a day. It'll burn you out. Get the podcast, which you can listen to the Kinda Live, Kinda Livin podcast series on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Facebook. Premieres on Thursday, and obviously just live on YouTube where you can chat with us, hang out with us, ask us questions. And Doug, what's our email for if people want to go and send us a question?
mirthisking518@gmail.com.
Hell yeah, man. And please, that makes it more fun for us by doing those things. Maybe we'll bring back Rant Cam. Maybe we'll bring back Two Truths and a Lie. If you let us know that you like it, that will definitely, motivate us to put more time into certain areas of the podcast and even a topic that, you've been dying to ask us, or even have a question about just getting started in video production or skateboarding. We got you. And then, luckily, I don't have to think about 2 weeks ahead of time. But this week, I want to go shoot some photos, man. The only thing I got to do was the other day, from my driveway, I wanted to see what you could see from the aerial from where we were, and just like it was cool, like getting like a nice solid shot of the Empire State Plaza without having to do any work. It was great. But I, as awesome. Much as I like. I love it down here. I'm really happy down here. What I do with my photography is focused up in the Lake George area, and I'm hoping to go out and get shooting. But honestly, other than the day we went skateboarding, I haven't done anything in this area. I've just been in my fucking office working. Yeah. I'm not complaining. I'm thankful to be able to like at least say like my work is able to keep my share of the lights on here, and that's great. It just the waves, man. I can't tell you. You get up from one, and then it's like Jesus Christ, look at this one, and then you just somehow with burning the midnight oil and losing 7 hours of sleep, you get it. But Doug, yeah. Anything else you want to talk about before we wrap this up?
Nothing really comes to mind. Hopefully y'all tune in to the next podcast this Wednesday and then the Wednesday after that.
Yeah, absolutely. Tune in. Again, the Kinda Live, Kinda Livin podcast will be happening bi-weekly with the opposite weeks. Kinda Live, Kinda Livin from the office. And we're just, happy to be doing this. We are 50 episodes in with that, with our original podcast and first episode with this. And, if you want to even be on the podcast, seriously, reach out because, with Zoom technology, we could totally make it happen.
Oh yeah.
But again, this is the Kind of Live, Kind of Living from the Office podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. Mirth-films.com. You can find all of our videos and just any news that is happening. But also make sure to check out the merch, because I think the merch store is actually back open. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up, guys. Doug, thank you so much for literally coming on in the last second. You literally saved the day, and yeah, dude, you saved the day. And Mike, I hope everything's all right at your house. Don't worry about it. We're gonna get you on the next podcast. So thank you all for tuning in.
I hope you use that tree as firewood.
Yes.
A lot of good firewood right there.
Or make some money off of it. But yeah, guys,